Hey guys, welcome back. So what better day than today, snowing. It was raining for a couple days, but now she's snowing, to do a outdoor wood boiler video. So in about a couple weeks would be 1 full year of me having this outdoor wood boiler. So this is a Heatmaster C800, which is their largest conventional slash coal burner that they offer currently. So I mean, she's a big unit. It's going to be hard to tell on camera, but she's not very small. So previously, a little backstory, I had another Heatmaster. It was a Heatmaster G10000. So that was a gasification unit. It's rated to heat up to 10,000 square feet. This unit rated to heat up to 20,000 square feet. So, and I had that previous unit, I want to say a little over 2 years, I think maybe 3. And then I pretty much just outgrew that unit as far as capacity goes. I mean, here we heat our 3,000 square foot home, the domestic hot water. The first shop here, which is 3,000 square feet. The second one, which is 2,000. Snow melt system. And my firewood kiln. So the other unit just couldn't keep up, where this unit has absolutely no problem whatsoever. I mean, it's a massive unit, and so far, as much as I've put a load on her, she can handle it no problem. So a little bit different from a gasser, but you know, if you want to throw in wood like this, just pure logs, right, versus, you know, split wood that's extremely dry in a gasification unit, you can do that. I mean, I can see all these rounds that I have prepped and ready to go in there. And from time to time, I'll throw a little bit of, you know, some type of seasoned wood that's a little bit smaller, depending. So my thoughts. So yes, it's been a year. I absolutely love this boiler. I mean, it's anybody could run this, anybody can load it. It's pretty user friendly. You open the door, you stir the coals a little bit, throw wood in, shut the door, and that's it. You don't have to worry about, like on a gas, or blocking the nozzle and cleaning the heat exchange tubes or turbulators. Sensors going bad. I mean, there's a couple on here, but it's nothing fancy. It's, I guess you could say it's almost like caveman, but it's really easy to use. I mean, the back of it, where all the pumps are, that's pretty much the same on any boiler, which I'll show you. So I have 4 pumps on this unit, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I just recently put labels so I can remember what is what. So I got shops, snow melt, house, and then the kiln. Because actually, I think it was a couple weeks ago, like I was doing some things where I fired up the kiln, and I almost forgot what pump did what, and I was changing the flow rate. So I was like, just as a reminder for me or anybody else down the road, if I'm not around, they know what is what, because it can get confusing. So, but yeah, it's pretty simple. Double fans, actuator that opens a dampener when she's calling for heat, opens up, fans are blowing. All the pumps run non-stop to wherever they're going, which is pretty simple. So yeah, and then I added, which you can see here, all these sensors to each return line, and I have one to the supply on one of these, yeah, this supply, which tells me what the temperature of the water is coming out, which is pretty much what the temperature of the actual unit is. So I can monitor that anywhere. So it's really nice. I can monitor on my phone, so I don't have to come out here, you know, to check what it says. Like right now it's 182 degrees, you know, furnace on, light on in the front. Real easy. You can change your set points just by a couple buttons. Real simple. There's no O2 setting changes or nothing like that. It's just temp. You know, ash clean out on the bottom, clean out on the top where it goes through the bypass before it goes up. I added this. It's not 100% complete yet. It's just to help with the smoke going out. because yes, when you open the door, you're going to get more smoke. There's no bypass to turn the fan on and suck it out. So yeah, I absolutely love this machine. You know, yeah, I would show you, but I just went through a burn cycle, but I plan on loading some wood in here so you could see how big this unit really is. This door is, I want to say, is 42 by 3, so almost 4 feet wide, and just 3 feet tall. So it's a big door. Double ash pan on the bottom, which is roughly 4 to 5, I think it's 5 feet long, that I clean out. Depends on how cold it is in the burn season. Like right now we're in the 30s, so it's not that cold out, so she barely burns. Like I threw, which is typically like a 16-hour load in a few days ago, and it went well over 24 hours. I didn't have to throw any wood in. So it's all based on temperature and what you're calling for heat. And I have all the shops on the attached garage as well, which I forgot we heat the attached garage among the house as well. So she always has a load on her, which is good, because otherwise it would just stay dormant for too long. I mean, a unit this size needs to be working. There's it's so much in there, and if it stays dormant for too long. But I also have the little vent in the back cracked open to keep a natural draft, just to try to keep some embers. But if you have a really good coal bed, it's not hard to keep this baby running. So yes, this unit wasn't cheap. I want to say they're around 19-20 grand. It's well worth it though. For what we do here, with the snow melt, the firewood kiln, the houses, the shops, I can heat all the above without feeling guilty as far as electricity goes and or gas or whatever. She does all the above. And so far I've had absolutely zero issues with this. Controller's working just fine. The cleaning, the maintenance of it's virtually nothing. I mean, I've cleaned up here twice, and we've been burning in this unit literally non-stop since I set it up a year ago. We burned all summer, and yes, I was able to keep her going. I just kept smaller fires because I was running the firewood kiln all year, or all summer into a couple months ago, and it heats our domestic hot water. I don't know if I don't think I'll be heating this summer with this. We're just going to use our other stuff that we have. I'm going to shut her down just so I can accumulate more boiler wood. So yeah, it's nice. I mean, it's pretty simple to set all these up. I mean, if you're a little bit inclined on mechanical stuff that put pumps on, it's not that big of a deal. This pipe here was an afterthought because I originally didn't have a boiler with 4 sets of supply and return valves on here, so I had to add those, otherwise they all would have been in the ground. We had this concrete poured, and I had all the PEX already in the ground for my other boiler, not knowing that I would ever have ones that have 4 outlets. So, and it's all insulated inside, and it retains heat no problem. So no issues there. So let me, I only threw in a couple sticks this morning. It's like 3 in the afternoon, so I should be able to add some wood in here so I can show you guys the box and whatnot. So yeah, let me grab some wood. I'm not going to throw too much, and I'll probably throw in some of that ash there. That way you can see how big this box really is. Okay, so I've already had her cracked for a little bit. Try to clear some of the smoke. There's definitely going to be some still. So yeah, pretty much almost everything I threw in there this morning is still here. So I actually decided I'm just going to load her up so I don't have to come back out here tonight, which is nice. Okay, so that's more than enough to get me through the night. It's probably hard to tell, but there's still plenty of room in the back. I mean, it's not even half full. But that'll get me through the rest of the day. Probably, honestly, almost 24 hours for sure with what I just put in there. And that's it. It's as simple as that. Chuck it in. If you can pick it up, chuck it in. That's it. You're done. So, like I said, what I've learned with this unit though, which I think differs from my gasser that I had prior to this, I always find that I always try to throw more in that I think I'm going to use till the next time I'm going to load it. Whether that's 12 hours, 16 hours, however you want to load it. That way, there's usually always going to be some wood left and or more coals. The more wood I throw in there, that's the more that has to burn. Everything dries out, especially if you have an established coal bed. I find that I just have a better burn cycle, a better burn time. Yes, all the wood that eventually comes down is going to be extremely dry by the time it hits the coals. That's my experience with it. So I always try to throw more than not enough. Because if you ever, it's like the worst feeling in the world if I wake up in the morning and I look at my sensors and it's gone off that it's cold, and I come out here and there's barely any coals left, if any. But the main thing with this, all I really have to do is I use the tool supplied by it. I rake the bottom of ash and there's always coals in there. And then technically all I really do is I try to find some pieces that I have that are smaller, you know, stuff like that. And I'll put that on the bottom, really spaced out a little bit, nothing crazy. And then I just chuck in a bunch on top of that, turn it back on. And then within 20 minutes, she's back to temp. And that's another thing, like when this thing does a burn cycle, and I don't care if everything's running, she'll get back up to temp sometimes in like 5 minutes. My gasser, depending on what I all had running, it could have been 30 minutes to 40 minutes long. So yeah, those may burn more efficiently, whatever. This does, obviously it's gonna burn more wood, it just does. But I also have probably twice the load that I originally had on my previous unit, and she handles it just fine. Like, it's actually pretty crazy, because I want to say this thing holds 550 gallons of water, and then with all the load that I put on here, even when it's starting to drop in temp, when she starts to reburn, it's literally 5 to 7 minutes and she's already back up to temp. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. So if you're looking for a unit that you know you're going to be putting a huge demand on, you know, I think you always want to go a size up than, you know, what they recommend. Now, if you're just planning on just heating your home, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,000 square feet, you do not need a unit this size. They make, I'm not sure how many units in the C series below this. I want to say it's at least 4 or 5 smaller ones. So you can, you know, size it accordingly. But for me, I knew that, and I'm down the road, my snow melt system's gonna quadruple, if not 5, 6 times the size, which takes a lot of demand, just like my firewood kiln does. So I knew I needed to get the largest one. Is it overkill for now? Yeah, but not in the next year or two. It's gonna be equally sized properly for what I'm putting on it. So and the nice thing is I don't need to cut this up, split it, just chuck it in. It's semi-dry and you can see a little bit of cracks there, and that's oak. So, and I tell you what, the reputation on oak definitely lives up to its hype, because oak burns the best, in my opinion, leaves the best coals. Now don't get me wrong, I love sugar maple. Sugar maple's good. Locust is better. Ash is predictable. You can really just cut it up, split it, chuck it right in. And I love ash because it burns really hot. But anyways, so yeah, I mean, if you ever need to adjust the door, which I haven't, but I know I need to a little bit, you know, you got your adjustment here, same on the bottom, then you got some adjustments on the door on these 3 hinges here to tighten it up. And I'm sure in a few years I'll have to replace the rope gasket, and all the same adjustments are on, like on the bottom and on the top. But that's the main one, because that gets opened and closed, like I said, at least twice a day, unless you overload it and do it once a day. So yeah, the last year I've been overly pleased. Like I said, no issues. From time to time, because it's an open open system, you know, you have your water gauge up there. I don't know if you can see that. It's right there. Lets you know where your water level is, and from time to time you may have to add a couple gallons here and there because, you know, hot air and water rises and eventually some of it's going to evaporate, but that's no big deal. And I have a system in the house that's tapped into that water line that I can literally add water from the house, so I don't even have to come out here, which is nice. And I've only added water, I think maybe 20 gallons over the last year, so nothing crazy. And every year sometimes I do every 6 months, I'll send in a water sample just to make sure that the parameters I need to stay within to keep the warranty is there. So that's real easy. You get the little bottles, you mail it in, you get your results in a few days, and they tell you if you need to add any more treatment and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, if you're looking at outdoor wood boilers, I'd highly recommend Heatmaster brand. Anytime I've called them or emailed with them, they're very responsive, very helpful. So, and I'm not sponsored by them by any means. I could have bought any boiler that I wanted, any brand, and I went back with Heatmaster again. So, and if down the road I decide to go another route, I'll probably stick with Heatmaster again. So yeah, I'll have some links down in the description for you to their website and whatnot. And if you're found in this video because you're looking at outdoor wood boilers, I have a whole bunch of videos on those if you want to check those out. But pretty sure I covered everything on here. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's almost like caveman technology, really. You know, you just have your water temperature sensor, your high limit switch, and then you set the parameters, which is a basic controller of where you want it to be. So, and then cleaning is pretty simple. I'll do a full clean out video when I'm done burning with this. I'm gonna do a full clean. I'll take everything apart, get down to the nitty gritty on it, but it's pretty easy. That'll probably take me a half hour max. So stay tuned for that. That'll be probably by the end of the month, hopefully, unless it stays super cold like this, or like the first week of April or so. So yeah, but let me know what you guys think. But as always, keep burning.